Hey, this is Pastor Bunjee Garrett, and I want to take this opportunity to present you with another word of encouragement. Well, I want to begin by first reminding you about the prophecy that the Apostle John presented in Revelation 13. It's there where he declares, I stood on the sand of the sea and saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard, his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. Now, in order to grasp the meaning of this prophecy, it's important for us to realize that this beast found here in Revelation 13 is actually an amalgamation of the 4 beasts that the prophet Daniel saw in one of his dreams. And according to Daniel, the 4 great beasts that he saw are actually 4 kings which arise up out of the earth, or in other words, these beasts represent 4 global empires. Now, with this in mind, we should take some time to consider Daniel's description of those 4 beasts. You see, it's in Daniel chapter 7 where we learn that the first beast was like a lion with eagle's wings. And as we consider all the details, we discover that this first beast actually represents the Babylonian Empire. The second beast was like a bear, which was raised up on one side. And again, the descriptive details of this great beast point to the Medo-Persian Empire. The third beast was like a leopard with 4 heads and 4 wings. And as we examine the details of this great beast, there should be no doubt that this was the Grecian Empire. And then there was the 4th beast, which according to Daniel was dreadful and terrible, like nothing he'd ever seen before. And Daniel watched this beast devour and destroy everything in its path. And he noticed that this unusual beast had huge iron teeth. And this beast, of course, is the Roman Empire, which was never conquered. Daniel also noticed that this 4th beast had 10 horns, which he tells us refers to 10 kings, which will rise up at the time of this empire. And Daniel also mentioned a smaller horn that rises up in the midst of those 10 kings. And according to Daniel, this is the ruler who will subdue 3 of the 10 kings. And then he'll begin to speak pompous words against the Most High as he persecutes the saints of God. He'll also change times and laws as the people of God are given over into his hands for 3.5 years. Now, this little horn that rises up in the midst of the 10 kings in the last days, this is clearly the evil ruler that Paul mentioned in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where he tells us that the man of sin and the son of perdition who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Without debate, this is the Antichrist who will eventually commit this abomination of desolation as he sits in the temple of God and blasphemes the name of God. And while Daniel saw the Antichrist as a little horn with the eyes of a man, the Apostle John describes the Antichrist and his empire in Revelation chapter 13, and we see it as an amalgamation of all 4 beasts that are found back in Daniel chapter 7. Not only that, but we also learn that it's the dragon or the devil who will empower the one who will rule over this final empire. And the devil will enable the Antichrist to speak great blasphemies as he's given authority to continue for 3.5 years until the day when he blasphemes the name of God there in the temple of God. And with all this in mind, we must not fail to notice that one of the 7 heads of this beast is going to receive some sort of mortal wound. As a matter of fact, it's in Revelation 13, verse 3, where John declares, I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. Now from this, we can see that this beast, which represents the Antichrist, is going to be mortally wounded, and yet this mortal wound is going to be healed in some sort of way as this pseudo-Christ is somehow brought back to life. John actually elaborates on this in Revelation chapter 13, verse 12. There we learn that people will worship the beast whose deadly wound was healed. Yeah, there's going to be some sort of pseudo-resurrection which leads people to worship the beast or the Antichrist. And not only that, but the Apostle John also describes this day when a false prophet will rise up and deceive the world by giving the breath of life to the image of the beast. As a matter of fact, it's in Revelation 13, verse 14 and 15, where John describes the way in which the false prophet will deceive those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Now, this is an extremely interesting prophecy because, listen, the false prophet isn't granted the power to actually resurrect the Antichrist who received some sort of mortal wound. No, instead, he's given the power to give breath to the image of the beast. And with that being the case, well, I can't help but to wonder how artificial intelligence might be used in order to fake the resurrection of the Antichrist. Now, with this question in mind, you might like to know that it was just 2 months ago when the best AI, or artificial intelligent chatbot, was released to the public by an AI research and deployment company. The chatbot, which is called ChatGPT, this chatbot immediately attracted more than 1 million users just within the first 5 days. And since then, this chatbot has continued to increase in its popularity as users continue interacting with this AI program, which produces human-like content and responses. Well, one clever Christian blogger, he just recognizes or identifies as by the name Joel. He decided to test this chatbot's writing ability, and he did this by asking the bot to write an article on how AI, like ChatGPT, could potentially fulfill the image of the beast prophecy, which is found there in Revelation 13. And the response of this chatbot was, well, let's just say interesting to say the least. You know, according to Joel, ChatGPT responded to his request by writing this, and I quote, "One way in which chatbots could potentially fulfill this prophecy is through their ability to manipulate and deceive people. Chatbots are designed to mimic human conversation and can be programmed to present themselves as real people, leading some people to form emotional connections with them. This can be particularly dangerous in cases where chatbots are used to impersonate real people or organizations in order to scam or manipulate individuals." That's right. So according to this chatbot, chatbots can be used to manipulate the minds of people. Case in point, there's an AI chatbot project that's currently being set up by Somnium Space, and this program is going to allow grieving humans to actually interact with their deceased loved ones in a realistic way, after their death. And you better believe that those who participate in this live forever mode, they're going to easily be manipulated by the AI that's creating the content of those conversations. Now, can you imagine how the government or even demons might use this sort of technology to manipulate the minds of those who are grieving? Well, as for the conversation that Joel had with ChatGPT, you should also know that this chatbot elaborated on its own answer by declaring this, and I quote, "Another way in which chatbots could fulfill the prophecy of the image of the beast is through their potential to control people's actions and behaviors. Chatbots can be programmed to persuade and influence people's decisions. As they become more advanced, they may be able to anticipate and manipulate people's thoughts and behaviors in increasingly sophisticated ways." Now, as we consider this candid admission from this highly advanced chatbot, well, it seems to me that the technology necessary for faking the resurrection of the Antichrist is already in place. It's already in place, and with that being the case, we ought to warn every unbeliever about the day when a false prophet will rise up and reportedly restore the life of the Antichrist, and then he'll force everyone to begin worshiping the Antichrist. You see, it's at that point in time that this all goes down, and John puts it like this in Revelation chapter 13. He says that the false prophet will give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. And then he's going to cause all, both small and great, rich or poor, free or slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, in light of this prophecy, it seems to me that the false prophet might actually use AI chatbots in order to fake the resurrection of the Antichrist, all with the goal of controlling every aspect of our society. Well, knowing that this will eventually take place 3.5 years after the rise of the Antichrist, well, we can rejoice in knowing that the Lord has already promised to destroy the empire of the Antichrist. As a matter of fact, it's in Revelation chapter 17. There, the angel of the Lord comes and declares to John, he says, "The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. These are of one mind, and they will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are called chosen and faithful." That's right. The empire of the Antichrist is eventually going to be destroyed by the Lamb of God. And with that being the case, we can rejoice in knowing that the Lord will not allow his enemies to rule indefinitely. Not only that, but those who trust in Christ Jesus today, well, we can rejoice in knowing that we are already more than conquerors. And it's for this reason that we should take this good news to every unbeliever so that they might also be saved from the time of tribulation which will come upon this planet. And as we share this good news of Jesus Christ, the Lord will help us to fight the good fight of faith, and all for the glory of God.